And those are the tranquil scenes that tourists are accustomed to when they visit the nation's capital, the monuments, the mall, all of that good stuff, and $9 hot dogs and sweating in the summer sun and all of those things. And this is Power Play. And up ahead, there may be a different scene on those normally placid streets. As a group of gun rights enthusiasts, supporters, Second Amendment folks say that they need to demonstrate that the right to bear arms for American citizens extends all the way up to the front door of the White House, as they want to lead a peaceful but armed protest march in Washington, D.C. It's causing a conflama in the city that has these very, very stringent gun laws. So we thought we'd talk to the man himself. Please welcome, meet, and know Adam Kokesh. He is the host. Now, what is Adam versus the Man?
I do a web show, a podcast 5 days a week, and a YouTube channel.
Internet television is pretty cool, I've heard.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a big deal.
Welcome to the future.
Exactly. Or in my case, the past. But it's fine. It's okay. And Juan Williams is with us still. And Juan, you're a resident of this district, right?
I am. I live in the district.
And
I'm sorry to hear that.
I do.
Guns are not generally considered cool here, despite recent court cases.
The Heller case came up, and what the Heller case said was that the rules here were too restrictive, in fact, and that you have the right to own a gun in the District of Columbia. But I must tell you, it would still be hard for you or for Adam to find a place that sells a gun.
Right, you can't buy. You can't buy. I live in Virginia where they got guns, but it's hard in D.C. So Adam, in D.C., if you were going to Charleston, West Virginia, you could walk down the street without any fear of much with a weapon held out in the open. In Washington, D.C., it's a different story.
Well, unfortunately, even that's not quite true, because throughout the nation, we have a police state that's out of control, where officers act with immunity oftentimes and don't respect the individual right to keep and bear arms. We've seen cases like in Temple, Texas, with Christopher Grisham, an active duty soldier who was accosted and arrested by police for hiking with his son with an AR-15 on him. Mm-hmm. And that's an important part about this. What we want to change is the relationship of the people to government, and make sure that they understand that government works for us, not the other way around, and putting them on notice. And one of the ways we are doing this, and already this event has been a huge victory, I think, for the people, when we have exposed D.C. Chief of Police Kathy Lanier as an outright criminal for saying that she is going to violate the Supreme Court orders. She is threatened to arrest us for crossing the line.
How many people do you have?
Well, we have over 4,000 that are specifically RSVP'd already. How many of those, we count a small fraction of that we can count on, but we've had a lot more now that this has become a major national story. We have people who have hundreds of emails of people who are organizing buses even to come out and be here on Independence Day.
Now, Juan, this is going to make some people upset, right?
It makes me upset as a resident of the District of Columbia. But in general, I mean, I'm all for, by the way, your idea of holding government accountable. But I think the idea that you would have people marching through the streets with guns, especially in Washington, where we're so polarized and everybody's angry at everybody, it sounds like an invitation to bloodshed.
Well, that's a typical argument that a liberal would make if you believe that guns are dangerous, that guns are inherently dangerous as inanimate objects. But if you believe that a gun wielded by someone responsibly, and you know that if someone is carrying it in the open, they're doing it without any deception, that they're doing so because it's in their interest in self-defense and defense of others. And if you believe in that liberal argument that guns are inherently dangerous, you might say that. But as a someone who believes that guns are in the best interest of public safety, I think that one of the things we are demonstrating with this is that responsible gun owners can do this and can be safe. And if anything, this is going to be the safest political event in American history if you have people coming and open carrying and being public about it. And we're going to have more cameras than at any other demonstration that we've ever had.
Well, I would
so
imagine
far.
The media would be all over it. I think that's why Dr. Starwalt had you in today to discuss it. But let me just say that I think the law is on the chief's side. Now, you say the chief is an outlaw. So tell me why, because I think that she has the law on her side.
Well, what is the law? Is it the Constitution or is it the Code
carrying
of DC?
an open gun through the streets of Washington, D.C.?
Well, which is the law? Is it the Constitution or is it the D.C. law?
Oh, I see. You're saying you don't agree with the D.C. law and you decide that you unilaterally can thwart that law.
No, I believe that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
Yeah, and the Constitution says you have a right to bear arms, but that, and according to the Heller decision by the Supreme Court, local jurisdictions do have a right to put limits in terms of how guns are bought, purchased, carried, concealed in their district.
All right, so it's scheduled for the 4th of July, right?
Yes, sir.
You think it's going ahead? This is
Absolutely.
going to happen? This is
Well, we are hoping that, like in Benghazi, Obama will issue the order to stand down, and we'll get permission. We'll get a police escort. We'll be able to conduct our march as planned around the Capitol, the Supreme Court, the White House, and back peacefully down Constitution Avenue to Virginia. But barring that, we're going to march up to the line. We're going to demand passage and declare our intent. And if we are physically barred, we will peacefully disperse, and we will see the chief of police in court.
Will you come back and see us?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, we'll find out how it goes. Juan, thank you.
That's an unbelievable story.
See? There you go.
I'm telling you.
That's why the internet comes here.
Voluntary means no coercion. So if you want to change people's habits or change the world, you should do it by setting...
Well, we sure could use a lot of help here.
Quite often for legal bullying and for expropriation of property, as in this case.